I don't know about you, but I love free stuff. And I strongly advise you that before you buy public speaking products or even more expensive coaching packages, you exhaust as many free resources as you possibly can. Free resources like this. Now, the first resource is technically two resources, but since they are owned by the same company, I'm grouping them together. I am, of course, talking about Google and YouTube. I mean, these two absolutely have to be mentioned because I may be going out on a limb here, but you might be using one right now. Just a theory. I mean, there are other search engines out there, but let's be honest, we don't care. When you want to find something, what do you usually say? Google it, YouTube it. Nobody ever says Yahoo it or Bing it. These search engines are great ways to get specific answers, but here are some tips to make them even better for you. Number one, be specific with what you are trying to learn. Don't search how to get better at public speaking. That type of search is not going to help you find something specific to help you get better. Public speaking is a broad topic. You can't put something in that broad and expect to find something that's going to specifically help you. You have to break it down into what you specifically need. How do I create a strong opening? How do I use a PowerPoint effectively? How do I find topics to talk about? These are the types of questions that you need to be putting into the search. Search tip number two is to find practical tips that you can see and hear. YouTube is great because you can actually see the tips and advice in practice instead of just reading a theory. Anybody can tell somebody what to do, but very few people can actually show you what they do. I wouldn't be as credible of a speaker or storyteller if all I did was give you advice. This is why I also post videos of me, speaking and telling stories. Free resource option number two is to download free content from experts and professional speakers. We live in an age where most experts have some type of online marketing strategy. One marketing strategy is to provide free content in exchange for your email address. You sign up, you get free content. And when you sign up, that expert gets an email address that they can push more content to. But sometimes the free content is worth those emails. But when it comes to this option, there are some points you need to remember. Since the point of entry is low, you have a lot of people who will pose as experts and they will give you bad advice that can really set you back. You have to be careful with who you get your information from. Only get information from people who you can actually trust. Also, make sure that they have a big enough online footprint so that you can see them in action. Another point that you need to keep in mind is that this free content will only be a teaser. The person providing this free content is not doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They are trying to sell you something. Therefore, the information that you get for free will usually be high level and generic. It's great for beginners, but definitely not as great for those who may be more advanced. However, free is free, so it doesn't hurt to sign up with your email. I would just advise that you not use your main email address. Some of these experts will bombard you with emails, and you can try to get out of it by pressing unsubscribe, but it doesn't always work out. Not all of those experts safeguard your email address, and they will quickly sell it to somebody else so that those other people can push more products to you. It's one of the annoying things about online marketing nowadays. And this is why, again, I reiterate to get information from people that you can trust, whether the information is free or not. Free resource number three, Coursera. Coursera is different from any of the other resources that I'm going to provide on this video. And that's because Coursera actually provides you with a structured curriculum. It also has a huge content library from universities all over the world. And mostly every course on Coursera is free, including their public speaking courses. Now, you won't be able to get certificates after completing the course, and you will have limited access to some of the other features, but you will still be able to see the content. And you really cannot beat the price tag of free. But just like Google and YouTube, on Coursera, you need to be specific with what you are looking for. Another tip for using Coursera is to look for courses that are at your skill level. If you are a beginner, don't try to find something that's advanced. Also, if you're an advanced speaker, don't choose a beginner course because you're likely going to get bored with it. Now, all of the resources that I've provided so far are all virtual resources. But here's the thing, if you want to get better at speaking, you actually have to speak in front of live people. That's just the way it works. So the next free resource option that I'm going to share with you is one that can give you live audience experience. Joining a community Toastmasters club. Now, right now, I know there are many annoyed people saying to themselves,
Aaron, Toastmasters isn't free. You have to pay money to join Toastmasters. That is not a free resource.
Calm down, Kimosabi. You're right. Toastmasters membership is not free, which is why my suggestion is to attend the club as a guest. If you do join as a guest, you are limited in the activities you can participate in. For instance, you won't be able to give a prepared speech. You also cannot get a formal evaluation from the club. However, even with those limitations, a Toastmasters club is still a great place to learn by osmosis. You learn from the failures and successes of others that you see. Even as a Toastmasters member for over a decade now, I can still get value from a meeting even if I don't actively participate. At the very least, I can get an idea about something that I like and want to try for myself, or I can see something that I didn't like and I want to avoid it like the plague. But in addition to learning from others by osmosis, guests are also allowed to participate in a speaking portion of the meeting called Table Topics. Table Topics is an impromptu speaking session where you get a prompt that you don't know in advance and you have to speak on it for 1 to 2 minutes. While it may be scary not knowing what topic you're going to talk about, it is a great opportunity for you to get up in front of a live audience and speak to them. That exposure and experience goes a very long way. But here are some things to keep in mind when you go to a Toastmasters club as a guest. Not all clubs will allow you to participate at your leisure. While there are some clubs that will prioritize guest participation in table topics, some clubs will prioritize members and guests will just get whatever time is left. Secondly, some clubs will actually charge guests for attendance. This is why it's important to research the club ahead of time so that you know if they charge or not. Lastly, there are some clubs that will put a limit on how many times you can attend their club as a guest. Eventually, you are going to be asked to join. If you don't join, the club may limit how much you can participate. But for me, the pros far exceed the cons, and it is going to be valuable for you to join a Toastmasters club as a guest. However, you need to do your research and know what club will accept you as a guest. Now, before this video ends, 2 warnings about free options. You will rarely get a structured product if you use freebies, with the exception of Coursera. However, free options will still require a great amount of self-study and you will get little to no guidance. Most of the times you're going to have to piece together the information for yourself, and sometimes that can take a while. This is one of the benefits of a good product or coaching package because you'll be able to learn in a more structured format. And on some occasions, the content will be tailored specifically to your needs. Therefore, if you are in a rush, then one-on-one coaching or online speech courses may be the route that you want to go. But remember, the good ones will not come cheap. Therefore, I strongly suggest that before you buy, use as many free resources as you can and save yourself a little bit of money.